Hello, MLP, and welcome to the Trace PRs for Season 21. I am joined by Frozen and Puffer. What's up, dudes?
Yo, the GOAT has returned.
It's
What's up?
about
What's up?
damn time. It's been 18 seasons since Puffer has done power rankings.
18? Was it
Yeah.
really that
Jesus.
long ago? Oh my god.
Jesus, and then
Six-
I'm the newcomer.
Almost 6.5 years ago.
That's crazy. Wow. I can't. Wow.
Yikes.
I still remember it well. Well,
Y'all
mostly
have been
getting
in this league
roasted.
for too long.
Well, I
We
wasn't.
have-
I think I didn't join until like 5 seasons later or so. But yeah, I did PRs, and then it was like a
You
meme
have
for a
been
while,
here
and then I
for
finally
more-
joined.
You know this is your 15th season here, right?
Dang. Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Eesh.
You've played every
This is
season
my
since
11th.
season 7, and we're on
I did not
21
realize
now.
that.
We've
Oh my
tripled-
God.
We've tripled your investment.
I really
Jeez.
have. I did not realize I joined that long ago.
Wait.
Time
Oh, that'll
flies.
make this my 12th because I started
really
in
does.
season 10.
It was 10, yeah.
Hmm.
So this would be 12 for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the math before because analytic PRs were recorded yesterday, and all 3 guys that did it joined last season. So we have 15 times the MLP experience they do.
Oh wow,
Oh.
that's
The 3
huge.
of us have combined to play 45 seasons, and we have 1 championship
Oh
to show
my-
for it.
Damn,
That was me.
depressing.
What the?
That's depressing. I mean, I've made the championship a few times. Never won it, unfortunately.
That was me in elementary. That's
You-
like
you
disappointing.
and me both. I'm 0-2 in MLP finals.
I think I'm either 0-2 or 0-3. I can't remember.
Well, you've also got the reigning Volt Absorb champion here with you.
Raining volt absorb. That's not what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know you're talking about the
Well,
elementary win. Yeah. Okay, shall we get on with it?
Alright, anyway, yes, power rankings.
Stalling a
Alright,
lot.
So, before we get
Woo!
started, I am legally obligated to state these are purely opinions. If you do not agree, go out and prove yourself, prove us wrong. Prove
Touch
us
grass.
to just be schmucks who don't know a thing.
Facts.
We already know that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, I
need
don't
know
proof
anything.
of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, pretty much all we did was we ranked them on our own, and then we took the average placement of all 3 of us minus Frozen and Puffer's teams for themselves, just because they're in the Division 2. So without further ado, we're gonna start with number 16 at the bottom. We have Dim's team, and multiple personality disorder.
Literally, this team feels like 2 separate drafts.
It
It's-
does.
it's
And like,
strange.
you look at that top 3, this team could have been so gross. And then it
No,
just
I couldn't.
absolutely tanked after the Blastoise pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also weird because they made a trade immediately after draft's done. They're wanting it for week 1, but the rules don't allow that. But they immediately got rid of Clefable and replaced it with a Terra Raikou,
Which
is even weirder to me.
no, if you think about it, I think it's actually really. It doesn't seem like it would be such an upgrade, but it actually fixes so many issues.
Oh,
with the team.
100%.
It fixes offensive holes,
Yeah.
but defensively, getting rid of Clef
The
is...
special offense is not there.
Oh, it's
You have
terrible.
no way of breaking waters without Raikou.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It fixes the speed tier gap between Whimsicott and Urshi just slightly better. And what else am I missing? It allows 115s to not be neutral nature, so that's
Yeah.
W. It's a 9-mon team with Rampardos on it, so it's an 8-mon team pretty much. Even
Yeah.
Even
I
though
mean,
Rampardos
Rampardos can be scary.
is a manly pick, I can't support
Listen,
it.
I've seen Rampardos put in work. I will say that.
It's too slow for this gen. I want it to be good, but I don't.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
it's not a great mon, but listen, if you bring it a week where someone under preps for it, it can do something.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm just worried about his defenses.
Yeah, his defense is weird. And I mean,
It's-
even like with offense, I mean, like you said, the Terra Raikou definitely helps the offense, but it's such a weird choice to have both of your physical attackers be dark types. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like you're gonna really struggle when you have your only two like really good physical attackers the same type.
Mm. It's also kind of forcing King Gambit to be run defense in most weeks.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's Skarmory Clodsire. You'll be relying on King Gambit to change its Terra, to change its type of Terra, to then become the third defensive wall. Because otherwise, you're kind of stuck in a bad spot. Like you don't hit enough. Like Spectria and Urshifu single strike, Dark and Ghost kind of just cover the exact same types offensively.
Yeah.
And you have the fighting type with Urshifu, but it doesn't really help. There's so many types offensively you just can't hit. There's no fire type. Your only way to deal with steel types currently is Urshifu, which is a great mon, but it's not enough when Urshifu can be stopped by a fairy type quite easily.
I'd like to see a ground type that could actually do damage on this team and is not Clodsire.
Mm.
I think this team would really benefit from that. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Skarm and Clodsire together like cover for each other pretty well, but still.
Mm. Yeah. The only removal is Blastoise.
Yeah, which basically forces it to come every week.
It's not horrible. There's definitely worse, but.
100%.
Pretty much, it takes away like its ability to run Shell Smash. Like for example, on my the download team, I have Blastoise, but I also have Cryogonal, so I could kind of take that pressure off of it. I probably have more freedom to run Smashdoise.
Mm.
I agree.
To glaze my own team, Manu and Jaichar already.
That's fair. That's fair. I would have also liked a little bit more momentum. I mean, I feel like you have such a scary top three offensively, and I mean, you've got a little bit of momentum, but Whimsicott and Urshifu and Blastoise are your three momentum now. But I mean, once I had Raikou, it helps a little bit with that. But having
Clef there for week 1, I guess.
I mean, that's okay.
It's fast momentum though.
Yeah, that's also a problem. Especially with something like Spectria, having a slow momentum would have been so nice to get that thing in.
It's pretty much just Blastoise's slow momentum.
Yeah.
Spectria is only going to be able to come in as a revenge killer. It feels like with this team. Especially because he's got relatively good counters to normal types. People aren't going to be running normal type moves to be able to switch in Spectria. I guess maybe fighting, but with Terra and Gambit, that thing is almost always going to be tearing out of its fighting type weakness. So there's no real opportunity to naturally switch in Spectria, and without slow momentum, it's difficult to get it in without just being revenge kill.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I think I have pretty much said everything. Obviously, I still think the top 3 can win games on its own, and once he gets Raikou in there, he'll probably. I think he can make it work, but it's just not a team I enjoy looking at.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Alright, so is 15 Puffer? Yes, 15 is Puffer. Do you want to start, Puffer, I guess?
Sure, I'd love to start. So, I hate my team, but I will say, I did get sniped quite a bit. There were a few things I wanted. I really wanted Corv in the third, which and that was kind of what I had planned around, so not getting that sucked. Then I really wanted Cyclozar, did not get that, so that sucked. Which is why my removal's terrible. That's where I'll start. I really hate my removal. I have Cleavor and I have Toadscroll. Cleavor doesn't really want to run Defog like ever. Cleavor is a mon that either wants to run just full offensive choice, and then Toadscroll, it's fine. It's not very good. But I will say, here's the thing. I do like my hazard game. I do like my momentum. Is my team great? No. Am I gonna try to get carried by Terrachiyu and Iron Valiant, just clicking buttons most of the time? Yes. I also have good status game. But yeah, I don't like it. It doesn't really have that good of synergy. It's just kind of awkward. I do really like Cloaking and Amoonguss. They're two of my favorite Pokemon to use, but that's kind of it. Yeah. Also, Cleavor sucks. It always misses Stone Axe.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Can't
Cleavor's gonna
confirm.
be a good Scarfer on this team if you can hit moves.
Yeah, and I can't, so. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I kind of hate this team.
Mm.
You think you'll get use Terra Meloetta at all?
Honestly, I kind of, so here's the thing. I had 10 points left, so I was and I still had a Terra slot open. I needed a normal type. I was just like, okay, what normal types can I get that will Terra for 10 points or less? And I saw Meloetta, and I was kind of like, listen, is Meloetta going to carry my draft? No. But I actually do think it low-key could be an interesting Terramon, purely because I feel like very few people, use Meloetta. So I think Terra Meloetta could be interesting as, a sleeper pick.
Yeah, I agree, because here's the thing with, Chiyu on this team, right? Is, we established your team is not very fast. Missing out on Cyclozar definitely doesn't help there.
Yeah.
Valiant's your fastest mon. I think with Terrachiyu, you're forced into Scarf more than you'd like. I think you're not going to be able to run, plot as much as you want. Just because you need something that can get over what Valiant can when it can't Quark Drive speed boost itself. And, I mean, you have good Scarfers on this team. Chiyu is a good Scarfer if, it's not Terra. With Terra, just much rather run plot most of the time, or Specs for that matter. Not Scarf, but what else? And then Cleavor is a solid Scarfer, and those matchups where you don't need the Terra Blast coverage on Chiyu, which is really what I think Terra on Chiyu is mostly good for anyway. I think that's where Meloetta can actually come in and do some damage, because you have Chiyu that can deal with the steel types that it doesn't like, and you have Valiant for the darks as well. So I think there's some genuine support there for Terra Meloetta to have a good game or two.
To me, I feel like a lot of your offenses are very frail.
Mm-hmm.
So while they do good damage, something switches in and just revenge kills them very easily. And it's going to cause a lot of pressure on your defense to keep switching in. It's kind of good that you have Slowking and Amoonguss, though, because they're regenerator, obviously, so they can switch in. But there are some shared weaknesses between your offensive and your defenses. Iron Valiant, weak to Psychic, obviously, which Amoonguss is weak to. It's also weak to Flying, which Amoonguss is weak to. You have nothing really to take Flying except for Archludon. It's going to be a lot of switching in of your defenses. And if you get, Hazard stacked on you, and the chip damage comes in, you're going to be worn down quite quickly.
I can't disagree with that.
And that's what I was worried about. Offensively, terrifying for the amount of damage output you can do. But it very much is, Cleavor is kind of pigeonholed into being a Scarfer most times. Chiyu is your main source of damage output, because while Iron Valiant can hit hard, it's not hitting crazy hard without it being boosted damage.
Yeah.
And so if you're wanting to run the speed boost thing on Iron Valiant, then you're not hitting as hard and you need to find a way to get like a sword stance up or a calm mind up or something. Which can be difficult when it is such a frail mon in the first place.
Definitely. I can't disagree with that, yeah. Oh. No, yeah. I agree. I don't know. I really don't like my drafts, so it's just, you know. Although KHD was spitting, I'll just spam Thunderwave.
Yeah.
And when half my team gets it, I'll just
stun spore too, right?
I believe so, yeah. So that'll be my one avenue to win, hopefully.
Yeah, just make everything that slower.
Yeah. Other than that, who knows?
Definitely think it's something to consider leaning on for sure.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you get destroyed by the bundle team. Which whoever has Iron Bundle kind of
like everybody does, so.
Yeah, I mean, that team. It's very hard to find a team that doesn't get destroyed by that.
Your
team.
defenses are all weak to either freeze dry or. All your defenses are weak to freeze dry.
Vacuum Wave Valiant at the very least.
Yeah, no, Rotom Frost solos. It doesn't, but it's gonna dodge every Hydro Pump.
All you have to do is dodge Hydro Pump.
Exactly. It'll be fine.
Alright, okay. Let's move on. 14 is Evader. Yes. This team of pocket monsters. What do you think about them?
It's weird.
It's really weird.
It doesn't have solid wall breakers.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. A Torn is one of my favorite Pokemons in draft. Like, I have drafted him more than any other mon, I'd say. And I just feel like it's a really good mon to build around. And I just feel like this team wasn't built around super ideally with Torn. Like, with Torn, you ideally want to be able to do fast U-turns. You want to be able to come in, maybe chip, you know. And it's really good for that. But, like, you need really good breakers with Torn, in my opinion. And, like, you have Haxorus, and Blaziken can kind of fill that role, but not really without boosts. Like, you really need to boost Blaziken. Yeah, so really Haxorus is your best wall breaker. Like, I feel like that's where the team really falls short, for me, personally.
Yeah, it's a weird team. He can't hit hard whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, only Haxorus, Blaziken needs boost to be able to get up there.
Yeah.
Jirachi is just kind of an annoyance. Like, Ninetales, Hidrai, those, and since, you know, they don't hit hard. Nothing on this team really hits hard. It's just kind of all a bunch of bulky mons, but they're not really fully bulky. Like, Jirachi can be run bulky, but it can also get one-shot at times. Rotom is typically seen as a Pokemon, but it can get one shot by a grass move quite easily. Yeah, like Ting-Lu is a great mon, but it kind of has no damage output. It just kind of sits there and tanks, sets up rocks, tanks a few hits, chips things down. That's kind of all it does.
I would like to take some ad space out to say that I think most people use Ting-Lu wrong. You don't need to invest bulk on it for it to live hits. It has 110 attack, and people don't use that enough. It does damage if you invest into it. Because I've played, like, AV Ting-Lus and shit, and, like, those are the hardest ones that I've ever had to deal with.
Oh, yeah, no, AV Ting-Lu's a demon.
Yeah, that thing can go
No, that's fair. But also, AV Ting-Lu really can't be run on this draft, because it's pretty much the only hazard setter besides Jirachi, and considering their lack of offense, they're going to need to get hazards up if they want to get those kills.
It's also Torn gets run as AV most times anyway, and it's unlikely to see double Assault Vest.
I also want to shout out the very manly Terra Chinchino.
No, Terra Chinchino is base. I do like Terra Chinchino.
It's just gonna be Terra Normal and then just try and choice bend Terra Normal tail slap things to death.
Yeah, that's
all it's gonna do.
Honestly, it could work.
It hits like a truck, but
it does deal with like steals and ghosts pretty decently. You do have Ting-Lu and Blaziken for both of those. But...
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Also, I also do need to point out that Jirachi is the only fairy resist on this team. There's no.
Oh,
poison
I didn't
type.
even. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, no, having no poison types. Yeah, no fairies run the team, and I mean T spikes will be scary without a
There's
grounded
not a lot
poison.
that hates T spikes outside of like Tinglu and
Yeah,
one that's
Tinglu
Terra
really, but
flying.
that's fair. T spikes won't be too bad, but hazards since Decidueye the only removal,
Probably gonna be
and
a lot of Tinglu on this team.
yeah, and Torn T is going to be like.
I think Tinglu definitely wants lefties unless you plan on running. Rest.
Yeah. Like either, yeah, I would say lefties most of the time, or like you said earlier, AV could be dangerous, but having to run boots is going to be rough to say the least.
Fun.
Alright, hopefully we get a Cherichino highlight on the end.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That's going right into the like best game moment if we get like a Cherichino sweep.
Easily.
Yeah, 100%. That would be legendary.
Alright, 13. We have Jin. Yeah, this team does not switch into ground types one bit.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem here.
The first thing I noticed, and
it's only really
beating Skyman and low kicks to deal with ground. I mean, offensively, you kind of deal with it. Not even really. It's just kind of just Skyman. But
yeah.
Unless you're running like Specs Tentacruel, which I did once like 5 years ago, but that doesn't count.
Based. The problem with Skyman and low kicks as well is that they're both weak to rock, and most things that have ground coverage will also, or ground types will also run rock coverage.
Yeah.
Most weak.
He has a good spinner in Tentacruel, but still.
Yeah, he does.
I feel like Raging Bolt's gonna have to be Terra like Grass or something most weeks to become something to resist ground on the switch in. Terra. And that means you don't get Terra Lycanroc. And
other Terra in Lycanroc doesn't really handle grounds all that well unless it's Terra.
It's a great Terra mon, like it hits like a truck when it's Terra. But it's kind of just an offensive thing. It can't do anything defensively.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bulky offense.
Yeah, I think I agree he could be forced into that more than he would like.
It's a lot of bulky offense with like Raging Bell and Fire, both being very bulky offensive things. But it's just a weird mix with no real synergy, doesn't feel like.
Yeah. And you pointed out the fact that he doesn't really have walls with a reliable recovery, and I think that's going to be a big thing. Like, I think this team's going to struggle with longevity. Like, if you get hazards up especially, like, I think this team can get whittled down, and that's going to be a really big struggle for them.
You're going to see quite a bit of fat gouging fire on this team, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Which isn't the worst thing in the world, but...
his only fairy type is also Klefki. And considering Raging Bolt and Gouging Fire are becoming most weeks, and both weak to Dragon, obviously, having it just be Klefki or anything, and that's weak to ground, as we've said before.
Penciled into running Magnet Rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part. Which, again, not the worst thing in the world, but not ideal either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think this team is just generally designed to win as fast as possible.
Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of their key if they want to get more.
Have long games with them.
There is no long games with this team unless it's with like fucking Raging Bolt or Gouging Fire. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of
Boys, I learned in Kala last week to Dunsparce.
What?
Yeah, huh?
I found a way to lose to it. I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, listen, that's an impressive feat.
Listen, I prepped for all his real mons. I forgot about the Dunsparce. It happens.
Look, I once nearly lost to a Dunsparce before having to sack off my Sneasler by switcherooing my choice band onto it to stop it from sweeping me.
Damn, I didn't realize that thing was such a menace.
If it sets up like carb mines and stuff, it's kind of
It gets
good
gross,
crazy.
yeah.
Really? Damn, I'm gonna have to watch out for that. Interesting.
Yeah,
I
carb
can
mine or
read that
coil.
after we're done. Alright, 12 is no, not yet.
Oh.
We have our other Australian, Mr. Funnel,
Yeah.
last season's analytic champion, I might add.
Oh, really? Fun. It's a great
this,
bottom
this
half.
team, I'm sure most of you at home see the 3 1-pointers there, and that's where this team pretty much falters.
It's an 8-bomb
Yeah.
team currently.
Yeah, literally. And I mean,
I don't agree with that.
I like the P2 on this team. I think
Yeah,
the
I
big
kinda
guys are
hate
better
P2.
value normal.
I would agree.
I love B2 personally.
I do too, but I don't think it has a place on this team.
I'm mixed on P2. I think when it had teleport, I loved it. Without teleport, I think it can sometimes just be.
Its biggest problem is lack of fighting resist on this team. Because it's only Weezing. He needed to get
Whoa. Look at that Hatchram. Look at that
It
Hatchram.
does not count in the slightest.
What? Hatchram's gonna put in work.
I love P2, it's a great wall. It just, without the fighting resist, like, a decent amount of fire resist, it kind of just gets bodied.
Yeah. It does indeed.
And he does have some bulky offense, like, Heatran will take hits, Shaman takes hits, Garchomp takes hits. But, like, I still like it. I think it's very much going to be a team of kill everything before it gets killed.
Yeah.
But it's just a strange one.
It's really strange, yeah. I mean, also, so much of the burn falls onto Quack, because it's their only removal, so they're going to have to, if they ever want to get rid of hazards, they're going to be forced to run Rapid Spin as one of its move slots. It's also basically their only momentum, because the only other momentum is Shaman with Baton Pass, and Hatchram with Baton Pass, which we already established is not a mon that we're counting.
Deciding he needs to drop Hatchram.
Yeah, so I mean, getting like maybe a budget like removal or a little bit better momentum to getting stuff like Darkrai, Boulder, and Chomp, I think would go a long way for this team.
Yeah, just I mean the way to win games is definitely there. He has had a good setting. He doesn't need to get rid of them per se. I mean, Hatchram could be there forever or not. I think you can get a better fairy. There's just a lot going on here. I think this team could have ended up a lot better.
No,
I'm scared facing it because I face it week 1. I'm terrified facing it simply because his offenses are really strong. So me trying to come up with enough walls to be able to stop him is going to be hard.
Yeah, it's really good.
He's quite exploitable. On the way back though.
Yeah, no,
like
definitely.
hitting back on it feels quite exploitable.
Don't worry, I can censor all of this if you want.
I also do like the Shaman pick. Shaman's good.
Be lazy and just release it after the game happens.
It's just, I don't care. Like what I'm saying is pretty obvious things are just like his offenses is scary. But I feel like I can beat him back after that. It's also Shaman is like I guess he has Weezing with Levitate, but Ground is something really strong versus him as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Although Shaman is an awesome Pokemon. I drafted it last season, and it's like actually regular Shaman underrated. I will say.
Yeah, it will have to come in on ground moves because Weezing you need to save for the fighting types because he also struggles to deal with fighting types.
Yeah, there's definitely a few types that are gonna cause him a lot of pain. It's gonna be interesting to see how he plays with this team. It definitely could put in work just because of that top half. It's so
lock
scary.
in week 1 the Hisui and Lilligant sweep. I'm seeing it now. Just.
Yeah, I mean,
set up on Shaman, cook.
Well, it's possible.
Regular Shaman gets Air Slash. I can't do that. Fuck. I don't know.
It does get Air Slash, yeah. It actually has a pretty sick moveset.
I am Terra. I forgot about that, but we'll talk about that, I think, on the next slide.
We will.
So,
I
next
believe
slide, Frozen.
Oh!
Time to yap.
Complete garbage, utter trash, nothing usable whatsoever. I'm losing every single match with this team. But in reality,
you two play each other, so one of you unfortunately has to win.
yeah,
Or, I mean, we could just get a double forfeit. Could happen.
my team is very strange.
I hate
Don't
both
count
of you.
don't count the Frostmoth or the Clawitzer. That was just kind of, I had 3 points left. I'm gonna pick something random.
I will let you know. Frostmoth is
allowed.
great. I have gotten a sweep with non-Terra Frostmoth in this league before.
I
Frostmoth
really
is
wanted
Probably got lost to time, but I think I remember.
Yeah.
I really wanted Lantern in that final spot, but I was 1 point too short. So that's why I was tossing up, do I get Terra Hisui Lilligan, or do Terra Golden Go, which gives me the extra point to get Lantern at the bottom. I went with Lilligan just because I think sweeping with Terra Lilligan is really good. Because I've tried running...
I think I'd rather you shit can the Jolteon for it.
Yeah, the Jolteon could have been.
It's because originally, in my original plan, I was running Terra Jolteon. Which was very strange.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't go with that. I would have put you lower.
Yeah. I love Terra Lando T. I think Scarfed Terra Flying Terra Blast just decimates most things.
Yeah.
And then having EQ as your other option is also great. I wanted to use Golden Go. I've never used it before. It also is a great ice resist for Lando. My biggest issue will, of course, be Chimpao, but I kind of have Hisui and Arcanine who can kind of bulk and deal with that. I like my defensive 3 of Glare and Wheezing, Mandibuzz, Blissey. They'll be like, they kind of synergize somewhat. It's not crazy synergy, but it's somewhat. I got Azelf there because I wanted something above 110, because otherwise it was quite slow. I didn't have anything above 110 except for Jolteon. I also wanted to use Walking Wake for the first time because it kind of hits like a truck. And it helps.
Yeah.
It helps me hit some mons, which I think Lando can't hit, but I'm iffy on that. But yeah, I think it's actually an alright team. It's just kind of all over the place. It's got a lot of elements, but nothing really blends too well together.
That's pretty much exactly what my notes say. I don't know what kind of chemistry you were going for, but
yeah,
none.
Most of the boxes of what a team should have. You are equipped to win a bit here.
No, you definitely are. I mean, you've got good removal, like actually like respectable. Like a spinner obviously is always nice, but honestly, I can't complain about your removal one bit.
The Defog Terra Hilligan, he's set, man.
Bro, I mean, and your momentum's really good too. Yeah, it just feels a little awkward, but it's nice. Yeah. I low-key was expecting to see a Sunsetter just because I saw the H again plus Walking Wake. I was like, okay, we're going for a Sun team, and then I didn't see a Sunsetter, and I was like, okay, we're not going for a Sun.
Set Sun with Hilligan, probably.
That's true. That is true.
I've done it. It's cracked.
Interesting. That could be the method.
Yeah.
I think Lando and Hilligan as the Terra captains help each other out quite a bit too.
Oh yeah. Definitely, no. I mean, I would agree with that. And they're good.
He'll get more than the other way around, but
yeah, I was very close to running Terra Lando T, and Sneasler again. I did that a couple seasons back, but I've been running Sneasler so much in every single league that I'm in because it's just a great fast mon that I just went, I'm not gonna draft it again, and decided to go Golden Go just to change it up. But what it meant was that my team ended up being kind of slow, so that's why I went I'll grab Azelf to try and get some speed into here. It also helps me deal with fighting types offensively without having to Terra Lando. And yeah.
Also, if you don't bring Clawlets or retire.
It was legitimately just like, I have 1 point left. Fuck it, I'll grab something.
I
I don't know if
mean,
you saw during the tiering conversations, but I literally said I hope somebody takes 1 point Clawlets.
Oh, I did not see that.
your wish came true.
It did.
I mean, it's not gonna come because I have Walking Wake, which kind of just does its job but better.
You're saying that Claude serves worse than Walking Wake? That's crazy.
Maybe I'll bring like maybe if there's like a really terrifying ice type and I need extra help, I'll bring like AV Clawwitzer to tank some ice moves
Could be Tuck.
with like
Sounds
Aura
like it.
Sphere.
Could be the greatest bundle check of all time.
Oh, it could be.
Freeze dry. I get.
Oh no!
I tank one freeze dry, and then I click Aura Sphere and one shot it.
Yeah,
You could.
Hey, we got the 10 trifecta here with Curse's team.
Oh,
I think it was the only thing that we all matched.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, until you moved Puckbutt up.
Huh? No, that didn't work either because Puffer had Puckbutt one lower.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I need to cut that out. That was spoilers. Anyway, Curse.
Yeah.
This is another team of Pokemon.
It certainly is. I mean, listen. My biggest problem, then, is the first thing I put, and Frozen put. Scizor as your only removal is so killer. That thing pretty much never wants to run Defog. Like, genuinely, Scizor having to run Defog is horrible. It wants to be Banded, it wants to be SD, it wants to be like a bulky attacker. It pretty much never wants to have Defog. It already has 4 move slot syndrome a lot of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I just think hazards are going to be killer for this team. I mean, and just like the defense also, just like it's a lot of good like bulky, like Scizor can be like a bulky attacker. And I mean, there's like obviously Glow King's a great defensive mon, but I feel like a more like a team that has pieces that don't just like a team that has more bulky options that aren't super frail, like something like Dragapult. It's strong, but it's not that strong. So I think a team with good bulky pieces is going to be able to like kind of shut this team down pretty well.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with this team is the lack of breaking power.
Yeah.
His best one is Mamoswine, which is saying something.
Yeah. I mean, I like Mamoswine.
Yeah.
It's going to be great for like cleaning. Like if it gets chip damage on to be able to clean, it has Infernape and Dragapult to clean. Scizor can clean as well with Bullet Punch. But getting into that position is going to be hard because he doesn't have the walls to come in and do chip. He only really has Glare and Slow King. Apart from that, I guess if it's running bulky, superior. But that thing kind of all it likes to do really is just Leaf Storm setup, and like it's Terra, which is good, so it can run like Terra Fire to hit up the stuff. But yeah, it doesn't want to run bulk. Mamoswine can be bulky, but no reliable recovery is very difficult for it, and it has some common weaknesses in like water and grass, which nuke it. And yeah, it can't bulk too well. The Terra Comfey also just baffling to me. I don't really get why it's there.
I think
he could have had some other
solid opportunities to be a sweeper.
Yeah.
It's really raw breaking power that's missing from this team. Like this team can break, it just requires setup. Like you need SD on Samurott, Scizor, Infernape. You need to get a Leaf Storm up with Serp.
Yeah, his best bet is like
with Comfey.
It's like Banded Mamoswine is his best bet to try and just punch a hole in something, but it's not fast enough to outspeed stuff. To be able to get that opportunity.
Yeah, no, Mamoswine best feeds off of people over switching.
Yeah. Yeah, the priority game is insane on this team, though, I'll say
Oh,
that.
that's great.
Like, there's
Bullet
so
punch,
many good
bullet
priority
punch.
options.
Ice shard, sucker punch.
Yes, sucker
Comfy
punch.
with even Comfy is
I was saying sucker punch,
solid.
samurai, but yeah.
Sucker punch and
Sucker
aqua
punch,
jet.
sucker
Yeah.
punch. Yeah, no, it's good priority and good momentum, but I don't love it. It definitely has
Move
potential.
on to our controversy.
Oh, fun. Yes.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
have arrived to the controversy. Dun dun dun. Alright, I'm gonna let
I think
you
this-
two yap first, and then I will plead my case.
This is my week 1 opponent, so I don't wanna talk bad. I'm very scared to fight them. I mean, you had them at 15. Do you wanna yap first?
I can go first. So my issue with this is like it's just such a slow team. You have Talonflame, and then like that's your only thing above 110, and that it just doesn't hit hard. Talonflame. It's a pretty mon. Yes, it's fast, but because of its attack stat being so low, it just doesn't do enough damage to really threaten anyone. And then your next fastest is Suin Zorak, which I love that mon. I think it's a great mon, but it being your next fastest mon is pretty iffy. The team also just lacks proper walls. You've only really got Terapagos, which I don't like seeing Terapagos pigeonholed into being a wall each week, being one of the defensive mons each week, because that thing is so terrifying as like a setup sweeper. It does so much damage to that, but unless you're running defensive Kirim and defensive Metagross, maybe even defensive Zimbra, I've seen it happen, it's real weird. Each week you just don't have the bulk to live anything, and with the whole team being so slow, you kind of rely on Spidops to set up webs for you to be offensively putting out damage. Otherwise, you can very easily just get swept back because you don't have anything to outspeed it all. And well, it is bulky offense, like Metagross and Kirim are bulky, but I think it'd be quite easily abused. I see kind of a lack of fighting defense. He does have his Surin Zorak, and Quillfish is alright. It does force Quillfish to cover a lot of the weeks, but apart from that, he doesn't have the greatest way to deal with a fighting type coming in and just slapping stuff around. So it's good offensively, but it's just not defensive enough in my mind to be good. So to me, it just kind of seems like a jumble of like a mess. I also just don't know really what Terra-Zarude does. Assuming it just switches its type, and because of that, it has good coverage.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, to be fair, Zarude's typing is pretty, like, Grass Dark. Offensively, it's great, but defensively, it's terrible. So being able to get out of that typing, honestly, probably makes it infinitely better. You can actually switch in on a U-turn.
Incredibly valuable, yeah. It also makes bulk up sets in general a lot easier to set up with.
Yeah, so I could totally see how Terra-Zarude could be strong. I mean, honestly, a lot of what you said I kind of agree with. I mean, one of my problems was the hazard game here is really awkward. Like, you've got Rhyperior, good hazard setter, and you've got Metagross, good rocker, but then your only other, and Terapagos, so you've got good Stealth Rocks covered, but then your only other hazards are Quillfish, which I like a Quillfish, but I'm gonna be honest, I've drafted Quillfish a lot, because, I mean, it's Quillfish, I'm like, you know, the Quillfish guy, but it's not really gonna be wanting to come as often, especially when you have another way better water type. And then you've got Spidops, which I'm sorry, Spidops is not a mon, like, it is a mon, but like, you almost never want to bring Spidops, like, if you, like, especially with this draft, like, all your other mons have, like, such good, like, they can do stuff. Spidops is a mon you pretty much never want to bring. So, I mean, I think other than rocks, your hazards are going to be weird. And like you said, the speed is just, like, it's fine. But the fact that your fastest mon's Talonflame, like, Talonflame's not that threatening. And then your second fastest mon, Zoroark, it's good. It's not, like I would have liked like one of those upper echelon mons to be like 110 or above, just to like have a scary mon there. And just like on paper, like it's a lot of good mons, but when I look at this team, I just don't see like a super synergistic thing. Like the synergy is not there in my opinion, to where it's not like terrifying. But I'm not gonna like say it's a bad team. Like I definitely think you could get dubs with this team, especially since a lot of the mons are really scary, and I'm fighting this week 1, so they're definitely gonna get at least 1 win.
Alright, so I will start off by saying, like, the Talonflame concerns. I get it, but at the same time, it's like Curse's team in the same fact, where it's just like the raw speed is not there. But if you look at, well, the raw speed is not there up top if you take away Talonflame. But if you look at all the mons there, almost all of them have a way of boosting their speed pretty reliably. You have Terapagos, which runs Rapid Spin and Rock Polish all the time. You have Zarude, which is either a decent Scarfer, probably not with Terra, but you could see it with Stab Trailblaze. You see Metagross run Rock Polish. You see Kyurem run DD or Scale Shot. Azumarill has priority. Rhyperior has Rock Polish. Zoroark's a very common Scarfer. There are ways for this team to be fast. I get that it's not natural, but I think he has more than enough ways to overcome that, and that's what I really think is most dangerous about this team, is just that a lot of those mons have that luxury.
Mm-hmm.
And no, fucking Rainfish, Rain Dance Quillfish doesn't count as speed boosting, even though it could.
It could.
Yeah. Rain Dance to set up the Azumarill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could be something they could look into.
I think the waters tandem off each other really well, given that their only common weakness is electric, and the rest of this team is pretty good against electric types, since you have Zarude, Kyurem, and Rhyperior. I don't think electric types are overly threatening to this team, unless they have fighting coverage, then they're very threatening.
So, poor Mutt.
But yeah, even if, like, a lot of these mons are stuck between wanting to be offensive and on the bulky side, I think that with that approach, it's like it has to be like everything is like that or nothing is, and I think almost everything is like that on this team. So I think you can find combinations when team building to make that work. I don't think it's that big of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I can get behind that. I mean, I had them at 9. I don't think the team's like bad by any means, and I do agree. I think they could find combinations.
You probably will see like Terra, Zarude, and Terapagos be offensive most of the time, but Metagross can literally do anything. So
that is very true.
Metagross can do literally anything. Talonflame is there, it'll outspeed. Yeah, this team does have a bit of an Edgequake problem, but
yeah,
it's not. That's a Gen 6 concern. So, and then Kyurem definitely doesn't mind being bulky on this team, like I said, just because there are other ways for this team to boost its speed, and you do have Terra Rhyperior with Solid Rock to get out of situations and be more offensive if need be, if you don't want Zarude, that is. And I think Hisuian Zoroark has a lot of mons on this team that it could disguise as, Terapagos in particular, that it could really go off. So there's just I think there's a lot more going for this team, like, below the surface than it does on paper, and that's why I think it's going to do well.
Okay.
Fair enough. I mean,
in these rankings, somebody has to be right? We got one in the middle, one at the bottom, one at the top.
I think
that's true.
Puff has probably got the bit closest ranking.
We shall see. That's why we play.
We shall.
I think it'll probably end up being a middling team, if anything.
Alright, on
I
to
don't
the
get-
top half. We are going to start at number 8 with Lewis. We got a Welpon team. Gentlemen,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I mean, it kind of has the same problem I had with I don't remember what team. The Scissor team,
It was
where you have
Curse.
yeah, Curse. It's the same problem where you have Excadrill as your only removal, and that's just so killer. I mean, especially when you have mons like Weavile and Zapdos, you know, like and Chandelier, like these or especially Weavile and Chandelier, who are like really good offensively with like either running setup or choice items, and so being forced to run boots or have Excadrill run spin every week is going to be really brutal. And Excadrill, I just think, is going to see a problem since it's also that and Uxie are your only two stealth rockers, so it means you're going to be bringing Uxie most weeks. So I think the team's kind of got like a problem where like certain mons are going to have to come almost every week to fulfill certain roles since you don't have as much variety in mons that fulfill those roles.
Extra is also his only rock resist,
Yeah.
like offensively, and a lot of his mons are weak to rock.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
electric.
either rock or-
I noticed that too. That was the first thing I noticed.
So
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of pressure on Excadrill, and if that thing goes down, like rocks just kind of run through his team. I expect the team to have a lot of issue with like Lycanroc.
Yeah.
The Terra Lycanroc is going to run a train on this team, it feels like.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Vaporeon has to come, and in 2024, that is not good.
Yeah, I mean, even Vaporeon, I don't think is a great check for Lycanroc.
Unless they're running like a crazy Hisuian Quillfish, like constantly like switching out, getting the Intimidate drops and doing all that. But even then it's a bit iffy. I also just have a problem with the special output of the team. It's a very physically offensive team. Welpon, Weavile, Excadrill, Slitherwing. All physical. His only real special is Chandelure and Zapdos, but most times you see Zapdos run defensively.
You have to sneak Spitaki Vs on Zapdos a good amount of the time.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just Chandelure, which it hits like a truck especially, but it's slow. And that it's relatively slow, and so it can be quite easily like stopped. And while it is Terra, it typically just tears into like grass for like energy ball. But yeah, I just think it's a bit of a weird team. It's okay, it has a lot of threats, but it doesn't synergize too well.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think my other thing that I think could be problematic with Drill being the only spinner is the Terra Chandelure.
Yeah.
100%. You're getting that, and if you can't get hazards off the field, and you definitely don't want to run boots because you're either just gonna be like, you can't be choiced, you can't.
Exactly.
You'd probably be forced into Calm Mind, probably.
Yeah,
I
Boot
feel like
Chandelier is.
This Ogerpon is gonna have to be run defensive.
Which to be
I
fair,
can
you
see
can
that.
definitely get away with that.
It might have to be just a better Vaporeon, Terra it, have water absorb, and synthesis, and just run it defensive with the special defense boost.
Honestly, outside of Wit, is just Vaporeon just a 7-point wish bot on this team.
Yeah, honestly, Vaporeon does feel a little awkward now that you point it out. I guess it really is just there for wish.
I definitely feel like they could use the 7 points to pick up another removal, get another special, proper special attacker.
Kamala is garbage, but I could see it working here.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would agree. I don't like Kamala, but I could have for sure. Nah, I got to again.
It's also kind of slow, the team. It's got Weavile and Ogerpon, but apart from that, it's got nothing above 100, I don't believe.
Well, Zapdos is 100.
Yeah, but 100 is like a typical sitting spot for a lot of mons. So you want to be you want mons above 100 and then above 110 to get like a well-rounded draft.
Somewhere in the 90s, I forget where, and then Slitherwings in the
It's
80s.
like 99.
Scarf a decent amount of the time.
Yeah, and first impression.
Yeah.
It's just it's a weird team. It's okay. It just has some glaring weaknesses that could be abused.
No, Doppler.
Yeah, it's a very fair way of putting it.
Mm.
7 is, yes, Syad, the Paladin team. The double Terras as well.
That's just weird. I don't know why.
I would get it if they played off of each other, but they don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like Thundy's almost there to help out Sandy Shocks more than actually being a good Terramon.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't think either of them are bad Terramons. I just think in terms of synergy, I think they're weird to have both of them as Terramons.
I'm confused why they didn't go Terraladios. Or is that banned?
It was banned, yeah.
That's why.
After last season, I guess. Even though, did it do that good last season?
Yeah, I think. Because it always like
who had it?
They do like Terra Poison, Can Mind, Terra Poison, Can't Mind, like most weeks.
That's fair. Wait, who even had it last season? Rye had one of the Lotties. Fair. It was Rye. I knew he had one of the Lotties, yeah. It cooked me, to be fair. Although we memed, so. Yeah. No, I mean. Yeah, it seems interesting.
This team to me is the epitome of mid.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's nothing amazing, but it's nothing terrible. It's just a solid middle team. I feel like they're going to be like they will just make playoffs or they will just miss out on playoffs.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Like, there's nothing crazy screaming out to me. Like, Palafin's great, yes, but it doesn't have the greatest supporting mons around it, especially with your only electric resistance immunity also being your Terra makes it interesting. And then your grass resist, you have decent grass resists in Cinderace, Latios, and Serena, but
Overcoil,
I see a more offensive carry on this team than Florgus.
That's that's fair. I mean,
it's got reasonable removal. Serena and Hitmontop are they're good. They're rapid spinners, which makes it better. But it was got no defog. So
I mean,
I guess core change.
Core change, actually. I kind of always forget core change exists. Core change low-key could be fire on this team. I think the only, great thing I could say is I think the double Terra Electric is awkward, but I guess having two strong electric types is nice for getting rid of bulky waters for Palafin, plus Serena. I mean, I think they did that pretty well, getting ways to remove those bulky waters, especially since you have Cinderace and Palafin, so bulky waters would otherwise not be nice. And I like their hazard game. I think Overquill plus Sandy Shocks plus Empoleon cover hazards pretty well. But yeah, I just think the team's a little, it doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah.
Big valid concerns there. Number 6, we have Puffbud. This is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a fun team. It's
It doesn't. It's similar to. It's similar to Finley's, where it doesn't really have that solid top speed option outside of EM.
It's slow.
But there's a ton of speed boosters on this team. A ton of Scarfers as well. So I think he makes it work. And
it's Scarfers. I don't see the speed boosters though.
Well, the Quark Drive.
I guess Quark Drive. That's the only thing. I feel like it's gonna rely on. It's got areas there for webs, so Unless we see
Yeah,
Gyarados
I mean,
become a lot of weeks. I
you
love Terra.
could.
You could. I love seeing Terra and Amorous. I think it's a great Terra. The only problem is it doesn't want to be like your fastest mon. Which
Yeah.
I think it's around that being your fastest mon.
It is the
Yeah,
fastest
it and
one, yeah.
Tre-
It is the
it and
fastest.
Treads are both. It and
Leaves
Treads are
is-
tied.
I think Leaves is just below it.
Yeah,
it and
being
Treads
the
are both
fastest mon,
106.
Both of them.
and it
Leaves is
can't boost
104.
its speed. It can't boost its speed because typically you're going to be running contrary superpower, like a good amount, or you run like special with shoot charm, Carmine, but it's really strong. But without being able to boost its speed, it's difficult, and it doesn't like being the fastest mon in your team. Yeah, it's a weird team. It's got good bulk, like Melodic is great, Petron is really good, Incineroar's okay. Iron Hands is probably going to be is going to be bulky most weeks.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Hands is I had Terra Iron Hands last season. That thing was low key fire. But yeah, it's so strong already. You could very easily. I would just literally run AV, bulk, and like very little attack investment, and I would still one shot most things. And then the bulkier mons were still getting 2-shot. Like that
And
thing
you got
is
Drain Punch
crazy.
for recovery.
Yeah, it's so good. I wish they had hazards outside of rocks. I mean, they have Ariados with T-Spikes, but Ariados...
It has webs too.
It does have webs. Yeah, but I'm not... No, if they bring Ariados more than once, I'll be impressed. But, like, I think having, like, a Spike Setter to help stuff like Enamorous get those kills, and even, like, a Hydreigon, if you want to run, like, Scarf or Specs Hydreigon, having a Spike Setter could have gone a long way for some chip. And also, I mean, Iron Treads is a really good removal, but having another removal would have still been nice just to alleviate that pressure of having to run spin every week off of it.
I'm kind of confused what Mesper does on this team, honestly.
Sets rocks, I guess? That's kind of... I don't know what else. Oh, it does float,
It is ground resist immunity, because otherwise... You have an Enamorous and Hydreigon.
Otherwise,
then your only other...
two Terramons and Hydreigon, yeah.
Yeah, which none of them are going to be, like, super defensive.
Because, he has a lot of ground weakness in Treads, Hands, Incineroar, Petron.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, then.
Honestly, Excadrill, whoever has Excadrill with Mold Breaker can probably do damage versus this team.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, And I mean, they even have a rock type. Yeah, so they don't. So yeah, that extra gel could be. That extra gel scene could put in work, but yeah, I mean, it's a solid team though. I mean, it's definitely not a bad team at all.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah.
On to the top 5. With number 5, we got Chef, new rookie coach in the MLP, and he's got this bulky offensive squad.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, Eliki sucks, but it's definitely good. Like, this is a scary team.
I like it.
Oh yeah. I do too.
Yeah, I think it hits very hard. It's a little bulky offense for most of it. Annihilate is bulky offense. Asuna bulky offense. Latias is bulky offense. Iron Crown bulky offense. It's a very bulky team. No real solid, like, set in stone, this is going to be a defensive wall each week, apart from like Amorous. But because everything is so bulky, and like real bulky, you could have a mixture of what is going to be the walls each week. But at the same time, a lot of them would also love to run offense when they can. So it's a bit of a weird one. It's solid. I personally like it a lot. It's just going to be interesting of how hard he can take some big moves. Like, some mons are just gonna punch holes in this team because he doesn't have a solid set in stone defensive wall.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, yeah, the wall would have been nice. I like the hazard game on this team, though. I mean, Meowscarada is obviously gonna be nice, and same with Glimora. Both are, I think, really pretty good hazard setters. I think removal-wise, this team's gonna struggle because, personally, as I already said, I hate Alecki. I think Alecki is terrible. I think unless for some reason Terra Alecki is allowed, which it shouldn't be, I think Alecki is just always a bad mon. So I think Glimora is gonna have a lot of pressure to both be that kind of hazard setter and that remover. And I mean, Mortal Spin is fine, but like also gets blocked by steel types, which every team should have a steel type, so it's going to be interesting.
One of the two very resist on the team on an otherwise very weak variant.
Oh, wow, yeah, no, it is. So yeah, that's also a good point. So actually, Glimora is going to feel a lot of pressure.
Iron Crown is an amazing fairy resist, though.
Oh, it's great, yeah.
One of the best, in my opinion. Like, I've swept with Iron Crown before. It's a great mon.
No, Iron Crown is a great mon.
Yeah, it's a good team, but nothing special.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I definitely see it working together. It just has a ton of mons on it that, like, I personally don't mess with. Just like, Blood Moon's a little too slow for my liking. I think Iron Crown's a Terra merchant. I don't think it's that good without Terra. Enim's kind of just whatever. Maybe Terra makes it better, even though you're probably not running it most of the time. And I'm not sure what a Samurott does. So.
Yeah, the Samurott's so awkward, especially since they picked
like
Tauros Aqua.
Something different with that one point, especially since he just picked the Tauros.
Yeah, exactly. Like it feels like they filled the same niche pretty much. I don't see why they
got Clowitza.
Way better.
They should have done the 1 point Clowitza before I grabbed it.
Honestly, that would have really been something.
Because they're both just physical attackers, but Samurott just clearly worse.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Samurott really does nothing unique for the team.
Yeah, the rest of it's pretty solid, though. So
no, yeah, for sure.
Number 4, we got Jakar.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So, we have a round 2 Dio speed, which is the best kind of Dio speed, because you're not building the entire team around it. He's got Terra Tusk instead, and that mon is absolutely broken.
Yeah.
And the team supports it very well.
Yeah. I love this team, actually. I mean, it's my number 1. This team has most things I could want. Its hazard setting is incredible. You got Deontay, you got Dio Speed, you've got Tusk, you've got Fortress, you've got Gligar even. So you have multiple options for Rock Spikes and Toxic Spikes. You have Great Tusk, which is one of the best spinners in the game, but you obviously don't want to have to be forced to run Rapid Spin every week, so having that Fortress as another Rapid Spinner just in case you want to run non-spin Tusk for a week is great. You've got good offensive options. You've got solid defense. The defense isn't amazing. I think your defense, I even said there's a bit of a lackluster defense, but I think with how well built this team is, I think they could still make it work. Like, Great Tusk is still really bulky. I think Deontay is insanely bulky. I've run it a lot. Fortress can, do some bulk. Even Gligar isn't that bad. I mean, I think they could definitely make it work, and their offense is super nice, and they've got just such good support.
I think one underrated part of the hazard game for him is that ghost types. Not a lot of ghost types are going to come against this team against Roaring Moon, Gengar, Arboliva. That's not going to be a lot of spin blocking going on either. So I think he's going to have pretty much complete control of the hazard game, or at least he should.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point too.
I think the biggest reason I put it down low was just the lack of defense. Like,
no, that's fine.
offenses are really strong. Like, Great Tusk, Roaring Moon, Dundee T hit like trucks. But a lot of pressure on Diancie and Fortress to carry defenses, unless you're running bulky offense on most mons, which they are bulky. Like Great Tusk, Great Tusk and Volcanion are quite bulky, yeah. But I'm not so sure about how it's going to cover its defenses. I also personally don't rate Deoxys speed that much. Most times I go up against it,
I think we're going to see it bulkier most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
which I don't hate. I actually really like bulky Tusk.
Yeah. Deoxys speed is just something I don't rate personally, because every single time I go up against it, it dies immediately. It sets up like a thing or two of spikes and then just dies. And I think it's probably because people don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
But it's never really done anything crazy for me, and to me it can be kind of stopped quite easily.
I can
Tusk
understand
is
that.
only rock resist, but Tusk is broken, so I'll let him slide.
Yeah, I mean, Tusk is so good. Like, it's genuinely one of the best Pokemon.
Fortress is basically a rock resist outside of dealing with, like, Lamora, and that's kind of it.
And it's a good team. It's just in defenses for me.
I don't really get the Gligar here. I think that could be swapped out for something. I don't know what. So, what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely isn't needed, especially...
the crab, too, but that's a manly pick. It can stay.
Fair enough. They probably could have dropped those, too, for, like, a 3-point mon. They probably could have done something more. But I don't hate either of them. Yeah.
I also think his speed is a bit... he does have good speed. Like, Roaring Moon, Deoxys speed, Gengar, all great. They kind of hit the same stuff, though. Offensively, with like Ghost and Dark, and then Deoxys again. I don't really rate it because it doesn't really hit too hard.
Fair.
So it's good. I'm just gonna see it might get a bit like caught up on itself.
I can understand that.
Top 3. Number 3, we got Kaxai with what should have been my FBL team, but I took over a team with no removal on it and Terragren and Terratealpon. But this is a much better version of the team, and it even kept the Dragalge on it because Dragalge's broken and more people should use it.
Yeah. I hate this team. I think it's really strong, but I hate it
because it's number 3 for you.
I hate it because it is very stally to me. It's got 3 powerful offenses in Greninja, Kyurem, Black, Ogerpon. The rest of his team is just kind of bulky walls. Yeah. And I'm someone who cannot stand stall. It pisses me off a lot whenever people run stall, and to me it comes across to the stall team.
Like Screamtail, Aloe, and Rotom, that's slow momentum to get the big 3 in.
Yeah,
I know, and it's gonna be a team.
Slow, but like still,
it's a team I think is very strong, but it will piss me off trying to play this team. I'm gonna hate playing this team because the style the team's gonna play is a type of game plan that I cannot stand. I also just think Ghost types are gonna be very strong against this team because his only resist is Greninja, and that's a Terra. So Ghost types are gonna run. It's gonna run through.
That's definitely that probably is the biggest problem.
I'd probably say like Appleton probably should be the mon swapped out for a normal.
Spectre kind of runs through this team.
I kind of like Paldean Tauros on this team.
It doesn't do much.
Yeah, I mean Paldean Tauros is fine here. I don't think it's needed.
The team doesn't really like darks, so it needs like it needs a pure fighting.
That's fair. I feel like neither Appleton or Tauros are the like great picks here. But yeah, Appleton doesn't really do much.
No.
for this team.
Yeah, I'm legally forced to defend Bronzong now that I drafted at round 5, so...
Oh, fair enough. Listen up. Yeah, I like
Bronzong's
Bronzong. I'm not here to hate on Bronzong. I am here to hate on Donphan being the only removal, because it's a great removal, but, like, you're going to be running... You're going to be... Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for Donphan, because, like, Kieran Black is obviously one of your 3 offensive pieces, and it being forced to run boots every week is not something you want to do.
Yeah.
So Donphan's probably going to be coming every week if I had to guess.
It's going to be a big whip bust.
On this team. The Appleton's gotta go.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I know. I mean, and it's easily the worst of the 3. I mean, Dragalge is awesome in my opinion, and Kieran Black's Kieran Black. Yeah, you really don't. I love Appleton.
He better run specs. He definitely.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I've run. It's really deadly.
It's gonna be a lot of witch pass.
Yeah,
a lot of witch pass.
As someone who just used Terra Gran and Terra Teal Pond together, like you're gonna be running Teal Pond like 80% of the time, just because it's more reliant on Terra.
Plus,
that speed boost is gonna be very useful for this team to outspeed things.
He's already got Protein Gran as well. So I feel like the Terra is only really good if you're running Battle Bond. Get like the boosts while Terra'd. Otherwise, you've already got Protein. I'm a bit confused what it does.
It somehow frees up Terra Gran, which I didn't think was possible, but...
I don't know. All I know is this team's going to be wish passing a lot. The synergy between his defenses of like Screamtail or Donphan, Alamomola, Rotom Heat is very good. It's just going to be relying a lot on Mola and Screamtail to wish pass into those 2 to keep them healthy. Same with wish passing into Bronzong. Because if they get like chopped, like if Rotom gets like knocked down, grass types can kind of go ham on his defenses.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. It's going to be a Stolly team that swaps a lot, and I hate that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I can get behind hating that as well.
Pretty gross. Now we got 2 teams left. Number 2, got Mr. Almighty Ghost with Qian Pao. Yeah. This team's gross. Yeah, that's a good.
It's disgusting. It is
offensively.
Disgusting.
Ugh.
I mean, just those first 2 alone make me not want a versus team at all. Like Terra Moth plus Janbao is so deadly.
Off that second wheel is insane.
Yeah. And he stole my Corviknight. Tragic.
The only problem I have is like its speed tier is a big jump. Because it goes Chien-Pao, then a massive jump down to Iron Moth, which can't boost its speed, and then you go to Mew. And Iron Moth and Mew are both on it's 100 and 110. They're both just on those like crowded speed tiers where there's a lot of mons on those. So it's going to rely on something being scarfed, which only real scarf option is like Komao, which is iffy. There's no real like solid scarf on the team to help the speed tiers. I also think it's going to have a problem dealing with bulky waters unless you Terra Iron Moth into grass, which I know is common, but that's really your only way to deal with bulky waters, because Rotom and Decidueye just aren't doing anything. So, and Chien-Pao gets so hard stopped by bulky waters. So you can go to Primarina with Energy Ball, which is good, but it's not amazing. And it kind of forces Primarina come most weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like
my only
every game. It's a great mon.
That is fair. Primarina is amazing. But I do get what you're saying.
I think the X factor on this team isn't even Chien-Pao. I think it's Terra Mew. Because if you look at
Terra Mew's not.
If you look at it, Pao deals with the psychics and the ghosts that Mew wouldn't want to. Primarina and Komodo can deal with the darks, Hisui and Decidueye even though it's kind of just there to exist.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of runway for this team for Terra Mew to go absolutely bonkers.
It definitely can. I mean,
and there's a ton of slow momentum there in Corv and Prim that's gonna come every week to get Pow and Moth in. That'll be very good.
It's definitely going to be those top 5 most weeks, and then either Mudsdale or Komodo as the final one. Most weeks.
Yeah.
You'll see Rotom in the Electric Week teams or the teams you want to spin block, but the hazard removal here is already pretty good.
The top 5 is
good. All you need is Corviknight for the most part, but Hisui,
the other
and Kamala are technically there.
I mean, they are there, but they're not going to be reliable. They're not. It is a great way because they're not going to be reliable removal.
Concern I have is just like Corviknight is really his only like out and out defensive mon. Like Primarina is quite bulky. It doesn't have reliable recovery. So if you are wanting to run offensive Mew, trying to find something defensive to cover that spot, which it normally Mew falls into. A lot of people will run defensive Mew, or at least that's what they've done in previous gens before Terra. And so trying to then fill the hole of not have defensive Mew to partner up with Corviknight will be interesting. I do see Mudsdale having to come a decent amount just to cover the electricness shared between Corviknight and Primarina, because otherwise he kind of doesn't have anything for electric. It's either Mudsdale or Como will have to come most weeks to deal with electric types.
Yeah, that is fair. You're also talking about how the whole bulky water thing. I think, like you said, unless he brings Terra Grass Moth, but then the second he tears his Moth into a Grass type, Corviknight is literally the only good fairy check. And I mean, like, Chien Pao is weak, Como is probably going to come most weeks in his week. So, like, a good, strong fairy type, actually, I feel like on this team would be really threatening as long as the team has a decent way to deal with Corviknight. Like, the second Corviknight starts getting chipped down, it feels like fairies could actually be really scary.
It's also Iron Moth or Terras into grass. You just go into a fire type and it's hard walled. And then they're forced to go into Primarina, which is good, but then you go to Primarina, it then allows a electric type to come in. And then again, it's a lot of, he'll be having to switch around a lot trying to preserve stuff, because apart from Corviknight and Mew, his bulk doesn't have reliable recovery.
That's a great point. That's just going to be a little troublesome.
It's still a great team, and it's why 100%. It's like up at number 2, and it was my 4th, but there are definitely some exploitable things that can be used in it.
I would definitely agree with that, yeah.
This team should be really gross, though.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I don't wanna verse it.
Matrix Terra Bundle ended up number 1.
I mean, this team's just nasty. Like, I mean, come on.
Yep. No one can stop Terra Bundle.
Is Gastrodon existing?
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but even then, I mean,
cycles are being the only remover, but
that is. Good.
Monstrous team.
Papa, you're salty you didn't get Cyclozar.
I am very salty. I will admit that. I really wanted to. I literally left my picks with someone, and I left Cyclozar with friggin' Arcaladon as a backup, and they're like, oh yeah, Cyclozar just got picked, and I was so sad. But yeah, I mean, this team is just nasty. I mean, when your biggest complaint is that Gastrodon exists, that's how you know a team's good, considering Gastrodon is still not even a bad mon. I mean, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, Terra Electros confuses me.
Honestly, I kinda get where you're coming from, but like, I think Terra Electros is low-key a sleeper. I mean, I think they could have Terra'd a different mon, and it probably would have been better. But I honestly don't think Terra Electros by any means is a bad mon. Like, I think it definitely has potential.
In my opinion, he probably could have, if he had the points, Terra Typhlosion, because
Yeah.
like Scarfed Terra Fire Eruption is something that people always have to prep for.
Yeah.
With that, like Scarf Eruption is still a thing you gotta prep, but if you add the Terror on, it is something that people have to prep for, and it is you need completely different mons to wall it than most of the rest of his team.
Yeah.
And it becomes a genuine threat that people have to prep for, and yeah, it will throw off people's prep because of it. Compared to Electros, won't change people's prep too much.
100%. Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I think that definitely would have been a far better Terramon. I mean, it's like you said, you always have to prep for that. So having like mons like Terra Iron Bundle, Sneasler, and Landorus already, and being able to have that mon that just like adds a new dimension to your draft, where no matter what, every week they have to prep for it, leaves more holes for your higher tier breakers to kind of come in and punch through the team. I think that definitely could have been a really nice option. But I mean, again, it's like my biggest complaints are like Cyclozar being the only spinner, and that's not even a massive complaint because it's a really good spinner. It's just a really good team. I mean, plus Rillaboom, and you paired it with Gastrodon, which is a ground type that doesn't really suffer much from terrain. Like, there's really just not many holes in this team.
Lando doesn't like.
Lando gets grassy terrain, which not all of us can properly pair Sneasler and Rillaboom apparently.
Well, you can now use a great set now for Sneasler will be Rillaboom sets up terrain, then you can go and use Grassy Seed, Swords Dance on Sneasler.
Yeah, and that's
Unburn,
terrifying.
and your +1 defense, +2 attack. It will just sweep two things quite easily. It is a disgusting team. To me, it's the clear number one.
I'm not.
Its speed tiers are great. Like Iron Bundle and Sneasler being really fast are great for your speed. Even though it does, and Cyclozar is also up there. Even though it does drop off after those, it goes from those three down to Lando. It's because they're so fast, it kind of makes up for it.
Yeah.
It slightly lacks a bit of like specifically defensive mons. It has the Desoxys defense, but apart from that, it's like Gastro, and then it's bulky offense.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a very threatening team. You're not going to have many switch-ins to a lot of its mons. I feel like to beat this team, you have to try and out-offense it. You can't prep to try and tank. You have to try and prep to just.
There's not a lot that can do that.
Yeah, it's kind of just prep to try and it got a kill. Cool, I need to come in with something to then sweep back, revenge back, sweep back.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this team is disgusting.
Yeah, so I put it number one, and why it ended up being number one.
Yeah, a well-deserved number one.
Yeah, cute. Ooh.
And that's every single team. Here are our full rankings of everybody. Outside of Finley and Funnel, we were pretty much on the same page for the most part.
Yeah, we had pretty similar opinions.
Yeah, that's it for me. If you guys have any sort of outro, you can say it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has questions about their placement, I don't know. I don't speak for the others, obviously, but feel free to ask me. I'll answer any questions I can.
To ask Puffer, there's no way he gets harassed more now than he did in 2018.
That's a great point. I got blamed back then.
I went through the old mod chat logs, and there was some heinous stuff in there.
That's crazy. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, feel free to ask me. I'll help out in any way I can.
Remember, it's all for fun. It's all for fun. It's all subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
As you can see by some of our picks, they can all be like kind of all over the place. Yeah. And people see things differently and value different things in the draft to other people. So it's all subjective. We're just here to have some fun, make some content. Yeah, if you have any problems with my rankings, let me know. Like I'm bad at the game though, so like my opinion shouldn't really matter too much. Yeah. Thanks for watching, people.
All right,
Yeah.
peace out, MLP, and play ball.